Welcome to the Leap Into Livestream podcast. I am your host, Dawn Choubet, and if you are a business owner, a creator, an influencer, or someone just curious about live and social shopping, you are in the right place. First of all, please hit that subscribe button. It is how I continue to bring content like this to you and bring great guests like Zan Spencer and David McMenomey, who are the founders of Channelize. Now, maybe you've heard Channelize have recently acquired LiveScale, which was one of the first live shopping platforms that I was introduced to, a Canadian company, of course. But yeah, this big acquisition is meaning big news for anybody looking to get involved with live and social shopping. And a great reward for everyone listening today as well. I've got a special 30 days free exclusive for my Leap Into Livestream podcast listeners and subscribers. The link will be in the comments. So without further ado, here we go. Fresh off the presses, LiveScale. It's yours now, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is something that we've been really excited about. We're looking into it for a while before we pulled the trigger of actually acquiring LiveScale, but it was the right move. When I think about LiveScale, of course, I think about the major brands that they represented, L'Oreal, Procter and Gamble, a lot of other amazing brands out there. But I also think about they're kind of the pioneers, right? Like when I think about live shopping in the U.S., they're really, if they weren't the first, they were definitely close to being the first live shopping platform out there that really started trying to pave the way for live shopping in the U.S. And so when we had the opportunity to look at acquiring LiveScale, it was a no-brainer for us. And it wasn't so much from a technical standpoint, from like an architecture standpoint, as it was from a more of a data standpoint. Being able to own that data because they represented some amazing brands. And one thing about when live shopping first started here in the U.S., it was the wild, wild west. People were trying to understand like what type of pricing model should we do, and a lot of businesses when they first started, they started with kind of an enterprise type model, which I think is fantastic. But I believe with it being so early in the industry back then, 5-6 years ago, there wasn't any roadmap, there wasn't anything to follow, and so with that pricing model that they initially started with, it was kind of a higher tier. And so maybe the return on investment took a little bit longer for those customers to be able to get back. And so with us, I really understand the market. I've been in this industry actually for over 7 years now. I need a cane because I'm practically a grandpa with this live shopping industry. Yeah. But the way that we built Channelize is that we built it so that you can literally have positive ROI your first live show. And so that's where we really stand out. And so it was a no-brainer for us to acquire LiveScale, to have that data, to reach out to these amazing customers and say, hey, no longer does it take you time to get the ROI back. We're talking about ROI show one.
Yeah, I would say, and David, maybe you can speak to this as well. I mean, for me personally, LiveScale, first of all, was one of the very first live shopping platforms I was introduced to. And that was when I was working at the Shopping Channel in Canada. LiveScale is a Canadian company. So it's very interesting now to sort of see you take the reins on that one. And I will say that for me, as somebody who guides clients toward live shopping and introducing them to platforms, it's no secret I have been a big fan of Channelize. And it is largely in part to that pricing model that makes it less cost prohibitive. And it is so much easier to kind of get that return, as Zan said. For me personally, when I sell brands on the idea of live shopping, I really try to empower them to do this themselves. And what I find is, again, the pricing model, very attractive. And by the way, we've got a special offer that I'll introduce everyone to in the comments. You can find that. And of course, I'll announce it at the end. But I will say also, because it's so easy to use, they can use it themselves, which means they have a lot less cost associated with it. So how important, David, was it for you to have a platform that was also just literally completely goof-proof?
Oh my gosh. As somebody who can be really goof prone with technology, it is so important. I mean, I think it's maybe 6 or 7 clicks away from being live and making money. I mean, my past is in paid advertising. I've done probably over 50 million in ad spend through Facebook and YouTube ads alone. And there's so much technical work to figure that out, to get that going. When I would help new brands get up and going, we'd spend $30,000, $40,000 in the first 2 months to try to get them to start seeing cash flow come in. So to have a platform where anybody, literally anybody who has a customer base can go, I want to get in front of my customer right now and sell them a product. And I don't have to get on a plane. I don't have to run ads, right? I don't have to send out 50 emails or, 50,000 email campaigns to get in front of them. I can just go live and let them know. I mean, it's kind of a godsend, honestly, if you really
Yeah.
think about it, just how simple that is and how quick to cash people get. It's really important.
Yeah, one of the things I get a lot from brands is first of all, like, everyone's very excited about the likes of TikTok, whatnot, of course, Amazon Live, but and certainly great success. There is a lot of success had by a lot of brands, but honestly, those platforms are not for everyone. So first of all, in
Yeah.
Canada, we don't have access to Amazon Live and TikTok Shop. We can watch it,
Mhm.
but we can't execute it and we can't buy from it. But also, you can't assume that having that placement on something like TikTok Shop guarantees you sales, right?
Right.
So I think that there is a great argument for leveraging your own IP, which is something that,
100%.
and it doesn't mean it has to be a, either or. You can do
No.
both, but I do think there's something about owning your audience.
Yeah, I'd like to, I want to kind of demystify that because I think a lot of people are a little confused probably about what does it mean to go live on TikTok, for example, or whatnot, versus using Channelize to go live to your audience based on the platform that you fully own and control. Both are great. Both are different. So TikTok is going to be a top of funnel strategy. I think that it's fantastic. You can make a lot of great money. You can get new customers, but it's going to be that top of funnel, right? Because ultimately, if your goal is to one day to sell your company as an example, someone is not going to necessarily want to purchase a company where the majority of their revenue comes from TikTok because social media is unpredictable. Right now, yes, we're getting some organic reach, but that keeps getting reduced. The next thing we're probably being paid to get that reach that you want. Uh, who knows what happens? Like I think about how about a year and a half ago, Facebook groups, you could third parties could live stream into the groups, and people were making tons of money. Matter of fact, some businesses were fully built and are out of business because the fact that Facebook took that feature away. And so, like, I think it's fantastic for acquisition and making money in the process. But if you want to build something that's sustainable, but not only sustainable, but that gives you a really high LTV, you've got to figure out a way to get them from TikTok into your environment, your website, your mobile app that you fully own and control, because that's where you really build a personal relationship with that customer. You're not competing against all the other brands that are like yours on TikTok. The TikTok, all they care about is people being on their platform, is keeping that attention. So if you're selling golf clubs, well, guess what? There's another golf club show or video they're going to show, right there. And so your goal is to get them from TikTok or whatnot or whatever into the platform that you fully own and control, your website, your mobile app, and then you can go live. You can create shoppable videos, all the same thing through Channelize, but now you fully own and control the experience, and now you fully own and control all the data, and that is very valuable.
Yeah, I completely agree. Having the data is very important. And and to that point of, who can succeed on TikTok Shop. I mean, I work with a lot of brands that also are on TikTok Shop and where they have seen incredible success. First of all, is a lot of times they have to work with an agency, which can obviously cut into their profits. And it's really about the affiliate side of things that drives incredible success. Now, is it worth going live on something like TikTok Shop? If you can, absolutely, why not?
Sure.
But the idea that you can, with patience, with time, with finding your way of making this work, you can achieve some pretty substantial numbers when you leverage platforms like Channelize. So, without getting into full numbers, I work with a number of different categories. So, everything's from fashion to jewelry to makeup. Recently, we've started working with Medi Spas, who in 1 hour saw TikTok Shop kind of numbers. I'm just about to go live with
On Channelize.
yes, on
Yeah.
Channelize and with a
Yeah.
wellness spa who maybe doesn't have the same kind of margins because of the services that they're offering. But can we see that? Yes. The one thing I also want to highlight is don't sleep on the benefits of the replay. I work
Oh
with
my goodness.
Joylux, and they also
So,
use Channelize. We actually
so
do
important.
the StreamYard integration so that we can, do graphics and make it a little bit more kind of broadcast, and which is
Mhm.
very valuable to be able to do that on a platform like Channelize. To do that little upgrade with, getting a membership with StreamYard, you don't have to, but we found
Yeah.
great success. And sometimes, guys, the replay has leveraged sometimes 5 times the sales of an
Oh, I've
already
seen more.
successful live. Yes.
I've seen more, and that's another big differentiator between, say, us and TikTok. Like their platforms are built for discovery, and so that's the reason they don't and they will never allow replays to be shoppable. It messes with their algorithm. But for us, like we can provide value that allows you to be able to do a show once and then tap into that revenue for a long time. And plus, you get, of course, the SEO organic rankings that come with that too. There's a lot of value that comes with that beyond, which is beneficial to your company. But I mean, with the replay, so I'll give you an example. I can't reveal the company, but this company went live the other day. They did just shy of 2,000 on their live show, but in their replay, they did over 18,000
Right.
promoting the replay out. And so, and here's the thing, like if you do a live show and you get it locked in and it's providing a good return, it's the numbers are working out really well. You can take that live replay show, and then you can take it on the road. You can run ads to it. You could get influencers that have your demographics. They could promote it for you. You could say, hey, I'll give you 20% of everything that comes through this. But if it's producing, you can reach out to anyone, say to any influencer, to anyone out there, and say this show is producing this. This is the conversion rate. It's your audience. If you share it, you're going to get a good return. Yeah.
Yeah. And I would say also, yes, leveraging the entire replay. But if you decide to either screen record or do a slight upgrade to get the raw MP4, you can splice
Yeah.
that up. And David,
Oh,
as
100%.
somebody who spent lots of money doing ads and advertising, the value of that for content that you can continually repurpose, carve up, and funnel into different areas of your marketing and advertising budget. It's so efficient. It's like making this big Christmas meal and then eating leftovers, possibly for the next several months.
Yeah,
I like that.
that's totally it. And what I love about it is it's not super curated. It doesn't have to be super curated. It's probably better if it's not curated. That it's like you're having a conversation with your best friends. You're getting comments, you're getting social proof, you're getting add to carts showing up on screen. You're getting this amazing momentum in this moment of a live show. And you realize, man, when I presented this product, when we started talking about this, we started riffing on something else, the add to carts went crazy. How cool is it? I mean, you can't do this in just a live presentation somewhere on a stage, but you can do it with this platform. Is clip that moment. You have 3 minutes that you're making. I don't know if maybe you make $1,000 in those 3 minutes, whatever that is in the hour. It's ridiculous. And then you can take that and throw a little bit of ad spend on it and pour gasoline on the fire. Find what's burning, pour more gasoline on that, and get it out. You can get it through, like you said, through affiliates, through your own email list. Hey, in case you missed it, we had a crazy thing happen on our live show last night. Check it out, right? And you keep getting that going. I don't think there's anything better in terms of an ROI with advertising right now than doing something like that.
Hmm.
And maybe you can talk about your experience because obviously I know what my clients are doing. I know what I'm doing. I've got a very active client base both in Canada and the US that are using Channelize for live shopping. And again, don't go anywhere because I've got a special offer that you can only get with me as well. But the idea of founders being able to be front facing and sometimes comfortable on their own, or
Yeah.
if not, leveraging a professional like me or a coworker that can help navigate almost like a Zoom call like we're doing, or almost like a podcast where it's an interview style. It just creates additionally more interest. I've started to get involved in doing more interview style live shopping events, much like what I used to do on breakfast television, like a talk show, like an interview, like a
Yeah.
book club, like a cooking show, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we see that all the time because, part of one of the many features that we have with our software is the ability to do a multi-host show. And so just like right now, we're split screen. Well, this is going to be the same type of functionality where, maybe you're the influencer, we're the brand, the product owner, and we're able to go live to our audience, but also to your audience at the exact same time, creating that great conversation between us, and people can purchase from that live show. It works very, very well.
Yeah, I've had huge success with that. So, for instance, when I go
I've seen it.
live with Joylux, we're
Yeah.
on their channels, we're on my channels. If we had a super fan of Halle Berry, who is part of one of the products that I sell with the Joylux, it's called Respin and it's Let's Spin. And you can look it up. You can look at the shows that I post all the time. But, if Halle Berry herself
Yeah.
wanted to stream to her channels, she could. And I think it's that air, it's that casting that wide net and capturing and remembering that all of those, the simulcasting, those in particular, and I always want to make sure I'm very clear with this with my clients, is those aren't shoppable, but what they work toward is funneling everything to your shoppable elements, which is your website. And so it
Mhm.
becomes part of that awareness funnel,
Yeah.
stage,
Yep.
right? Which I think is
Absolutely.
huge because that's half the battle is getting people to your website. And so if you have someone like Dawn or, hey, I'm putting out the wish list for Hallie for 2026. I'm not saying she's done it, but you never know. But, imagine if Hallie was sitting there going, okay, tune into the Joy Lux show where Dawn's going to be talking about my whatever.
Yep.
And then having all of her audience go, oh, going to the Joy Lux website or whoever's out there listening to your website. Maybe you've got an influencer that you've,
100%.
even tossed a couple of bucks or given a little commission to see if you can capture some of their audience. You know this as much as anyone, David, that customer acquisition, the cost of that is typically very, very high. And it's really not so when you're using Channelize and creating content and merely making it shoppable through the platform.
Yeah, and in a niche like the one who can spend the most to acquire the customer wins, right? So if I can spend, I mean, if I find my LTV on a customer is 8x going with this, as opposed to my other funnels that I'm doing,
Yeah.
then I can pour a lot more money into this. And
Yeah.
especially, when you're doing these shows, when you're going split screen with other influencers, with other people, it's so important because you are casting that wide net, to make them feel at home, to make them feel like, man, I just got to be around those people. I
Yeah.
want to be on their lives. Maybe they're sitting and they're watching for 3 or 4 shows before they decide to purchase because they want to feel like they're in your living room and
Mm.
you can just hang out with them. And man, I could
Yeah.
grab lunch. I could grab coffee with that person. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm a part of that family. And I'm sure,
Yeah.
Zane, you can speak to
I
this.
could
You and your
speak to
wife can
that.
speak to that really,
I could
really
speak
well.
to that for a long time. Like, don't I don't even know if you even know this, but I've been in the live shopping for 7 years now. Like between my wife and I, because we started back when literally there was no roadmap. There was nothing. It was just like Facebook Lives and we stumbled on it. I don't even remember how I stumbled on it, honestly, but I remember Taibo in China spending hours in the middle of the night watching shows of them selling their products, all different kinds you could ever imagine, making crazy amounts of money. And I have no idea what they're saying. They're speaking Mandarin. I can't even understand what they're saying, but I'm just so intrigued by it. And then you fast forward until when we used to do our live shows, and between us we've done over 1,700 live shows. We've done several millions in dollars, 100% through live shopping alone, which is I would say probably unique when it comes to being a co-founder of a live shopping platform. Like there's a lot of value and a different perspective that we come from because of the experience that I have. And so that allows us to be able to approach things kind of in a different way.
Yeah, I mean, same guys, same. I mean, I'm come from the TV home shopping background as well as
Exactly.
a traditional broadcast background. So my approach is always content, information, value, right? What
Yeah.
what makes you want to watch me? And then on top of it, of course, then we have the things like the offers. But at the end of the day, even when I worked in home shopping, even if something is cheap, like let's say something's $1, if it's not the right product, it's expensive because it's
Mm,
not the right product
Yeah.
for you. So one of the greatest values in live shopping is you get to be the advocate for that customer. Is every product you have for everybody? Absolutely not. And it's someone like Don or David or Zan telling you that really cultivates that trust so that when that product that you say is right for somebody, they believe you and trust you because you cannot get that trust back once it's lost. And I think that this is where I also see an incredible importance of owned channels and getting off of things like TikTok where things can get very muddied. There's a lot of
yeah.
concern over who you're buying from. And obviously we know who the reputable companies are, but I think there
Yeah.
is something very in my mind very secure about you're on the brand's website. So at the end
Yeah.
of the day, you're watching it there. You might be watching it also on social media, and that's great. But
Yeah.
ultimately, you are buying from something that has been integrated with the brand's own e-commerce and checkout. So Shopify, Magento, Woo,
100%. Yeah. So,
right?
so still
Yeah.
like, yeah, still a comfortable experience for them. Like it's still a natural, like what they're used to. Um, I think about you mentioned content, and I just started thinking. I think about how when I used to be in the e-commerce game. I've been in online selling for over 17 years now, and I think about all the effort that I went through to bring a product to life prior to live shopping. So, for example, I used to have a company where we manufactured and sold these really cool patented bracelets. And what I would have to do to be able to take that product off the shelf, take that product off the screen and bring it to life, I would hire, first of all, you're auditioning for actors, actresses. You're renting maybe an Airbnb with a cool spot. You're hiring a film crew. They have to edit. All the time and money that is spent just to the whole, why do we do commercials? Why do we do any of this stuff? It's to bring a product to life. That's the whole point of it. And so now I don't have to do that. I could literally go live. I could take a product and I could literally bring it to life right now. And you could ask questions. And if you have any objections or any concerns or just questions, you can ask me. And I'm going to say, hey, Dawn, yes, this pen it writes in black, but we also have it in blue. I know you mentioned that you prefer black pens over blue. But the point is that you don't have to go through all of that to be able to bring a product to life.
Yeah, and I think the other thing to be mindful of as well is that so many businesses now are strictly direct to consumer or B2B. So, I happen to have clients again that are on Channelize. And listen, I'm not gonna lie, I use other platforms. I mean, my job is to make sure that my clients are in the right place for what they're trying to achieve. But it's no secret that I am a huge fan of Channelize because of the ease of use. You've got a really nice option for some filters and lighting adjustments. So if you don't have like a light, listen, I'm always the one that says make sure you're well lit and all of that. But if for some
Sure.
reason there's an issue with your room, there are some adjustments that you can make, which I think does also offer a nice little, a little face smoothing if you want it. A
Yeah.
few little fun things that are there. But yeah, with so much being direct to consumer, B2B, this really gives you an opportunity to have a storefront without a lease. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I was visiting my mom the other day in Michigan, and we're in downtown Traverse City, Michigan, and we're walking, went into a boutique, and guess what was inside their boutique? A live selling studio. So they're going live in their boutique. People are watching them go live as they're shopping in their boutique. That to me shows you a little bit about where the industry is going. Things to look forward to. I love it. It's super
Yeah,
exciting.
I will say that one of my clients who happens to also have a storefront, she's a Canadian brand. She's in Toronto, and she goes live about every couple of weeks. And she has found that traffic has increased in store as well because
100%. Oh, I'm
of the
so glad
live
you brought that
shopping.
up.
So it really, I mean, it works. I always say sometimes it does. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes it takes a bit to get the
Mm,
sales, and it's not because of the platform, and it's not because of live shopping, and it's not because of your brand. It's
yeah.
because, especially in the Western markets and even more in Canada than the US, where we're still even a little bit slower to adopt, we have to train the customer. And once you get them trained, they start to really make this a part of their routine. My brands have an absolute blast doing it. I've got a jewelry brand also out of the Niagara region. She's an Indigenous owned brand, and it took her a while to get some sales. And it was for no other reason than she just had to teach the customer that this is how they could connect with her and shop. And now she consistently gets sales every single show. And what does that mean? Does that mean you're making, hundreds of dollars? Does it mean you're making thousands of dollars? It can depend show by show. And it can also depend based on your margins and what you're selling. If you're selling little knickknacks,
Yeah.
you're probably, making a few $100s is a lot. If you're selling
Yeah.
Botox and spa treatments like I was doing with this Medi Spa, you're selling tens of thousands of dollars in an hour.
Yeah, 100%. And I want to echo that a little bit because too often, because with Channelize, we've got a lot of customers, and they range literally from businesses that are just getting started to multi-billion-dollar companies. And so we see everything in between. And far too often, I see people treating this as it's just like a one-off and not like this is a new revenue channel. If you were to start your e-commerce site and day one you didn't make $1,000, or this week you didn't make it, you wouldn't just say, oh, e-commerce is not for me, right? Because it's proven. So now you understand the importance of it. Well, this is a new revenue channel for your business. Literally one day, every website will have a live show tab, just like that about us or home or category or whatever collection tab. Same thing. And so it's so important that you look at this as a new revenue channel for your business and you go ahead and you see it through. Because when my wife and I first started, our first show, we did about 600 in revenue, which we're pretty excited about because we had our e-commerce site at that time was doing about 15,000 a month in revenue. So we're pretty excited. But my wife, it's pretty funny. She was so nervous to do it because we were foster parents at the time. We had one biological son, but then one day we went from one kid to five kids. And so our house could be a little bit loud. And so she was nervous to go live in the house. We didn't have an office. We're literally selling out of our living room or extra bedroom. We're doing about 15,000 a month. She literally drove in our van at that time. This is back in 2017, yeah, 18, something like that. Drove to a Starbucks parking lot, went live in the van, and had our first live show. Like that's the
Amazing.
testimony there. But here's the thing. We could have been like, oh, that was, we did okay. That was kind of exciting. But we did another live show and she did about 800 that next live show. The next live show, she did a little bit more. But within 3 months, we were doing over $100,000 a month to where we started doing multiple million per year, 100% through live shopping. And if we would have given up because it wasn't that great to start with, we were super, nervous to do this new thing. Like we would have missed out on literally changing our life,
Right.
literally.
And I will say that having a platform like Channelize that is very affordable. I mean, it's, at this point at the time of recording, under $100. If you purchase for the full year, obviously you get a bit of a break, as often happens. I will
Yeah.
tell you right now that for anyone that is watching, I've got an offer that's posted in the comments, and you're basically getting a month for free, which means whatever you go live with, you're free and clear with no cost. Now, so even if you're thinking, okay, let me check this out, you're going to have an opportunity to have literally no risk. Because if you're going live yourself, and if maybe you're comfortable on social media, maybe you're like not, but you're very comfortable with your product, which I assume you are, you've got absolutely no risk here. You have nothing but upside. And I think part of the problem that I know that when I was at TSC, that was a bit of an issue with LiveScale. And that, again, this is not dissing anybody, but it was new, right? Like we're talking now at this point, this is like what, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, that
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was, first of all, it was a pretty high cost. And I think they were also taking commission, and you don't have a commission-based structure at this point.
That's correct.
Are you planning on keeping sort of the general framework of what your
Yeah,
membership is,
we're
your
trying to
subscription?
we're trying to understand what works best for the consumer. So we have some general directions of some of the way that we're considering going in the future. But as of right now, like we have by far the best pricing plan that you can have in the industry, not only from a cost perspective, but from an access perspective. You can do unlimited live shows, unlimited shoppable videos. You literally, from even the beginning plan, you literally get access to every single feature that we have. Like all of our competitors, they limit how many shows you can do, how many minutes. I mean, like there's different types of limits. But for us, we have it wide open. You can get started and have access to everything. You don't have to upgrade to the next plan to be able to get this feature or the next plan to get those features. You get access to everything from the beginning starter plan.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note too, because sometimes people think there's a little bit of a bait and switch. And I can tell you, I've got over a dozen clients that are on Channelize, and no one has gotten to the point where they had to upgrade to the higher plan. So it's based on minutes watched, minutes, and all of that. So you can
Yeah.
obviously, I'll put the link there, and you can see
Yeah,
everything
you can check
again.
it out.
Yeah, and absolutely. And here's the thing, and I've said to my clients before, listen, if you get to the point where you're upgrading, that means you're making a lot of money and you're getting lots of people watching.
It's
So
irrelevant.
so yeah, so it's 100%. I mean, that is where we talk about the investment, which is
Yeah.
so little. I'm constantly amazed that the quality of the product that I and my clients have access to with Channelize for such a low cost. I mean, I think you pay more for if you're getting that blue check mark on Twitter, you pay more In some ways, you pay
Yeah.
more for that or
Or for
X
your
or
TV
whatever
or
it's
whatever.
called.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Okay, listen, predictions. What's next on the horizon for 2026? This could be Channelize. This could be social media. This could be obviously live shopping as it applies to social media. What do you think is going to happen? I mean, we know that there's a lot
Hmm.
more traction. A lot more celebrities are getting involved. Again, Kim
Oh yeah.
Kardashian, the Kardashians' Christmas was a relative success. I'm not sure, if
Yeah.
they got the millions in sales they probably thought, but they certainly got a lot of hype. And that's what this is about right now, and helping other brands sort of, I'm going to say, latch on to some of that to get success for
Sure.
their own businesses. What do you think?
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, it's super easy for me to share with confidence what's coming next. It's like because we're not reinventing anything. We're doing what's already been done. I mean, in China this year, businesses in China are going to generate over $1 trillion in revenue for local businesses in China. That's bigger than a lot of GDPs of some countries. And you see the adoption of all the different countries, including the US. Like this year, we'll close out around probably 55 plus billion in revenue for businesses in the US. Next year, it'll probably be closer to 70. And so we're just simply following trends. I mean, we're roughly around 5, maybe 6 years to where we're hitting that point to where China is right now, that $1 trillion in revenue for businesses in the US. And so, and like I had mentioned earlier, like this is going to be a revenue channel that everyone must adopt. And some of the main reasons is because of the fact that the number one, the return on investment is absolutely phenomenal. The conversion rate is next level. You think about e-commerce, and it's been around for literally for 30 years, and 31, 32 years. You're going to get 1 to 3% conversion rate usually. And then with us, you're looking at 10 plus conversion rate, which is what we see all the time. My wife and I'm not saying this is going to happen for you. I'm just saying for us, for our experience, when we did live shopping for years, we generated, our conversion was over 50, like 50% every single live show for years. That was us. I'm not saying that's going to happen to you, but I'm telling you that's what happened to us. And so it's just going to be one of those things where you're going to need that live shopping tab because if you're going live to your customers, you're building that relationship. So when I think about e-commerce, I think that it's amazing. It's not going anywhere. It's a part of the equation. But when e-commerce came around, say 30 years ago, it took away one of the most important parts of shopping, and that is personal interaction. So with it, though, you got scalability. Well, now you're taking personal interaction, you're taking scalability, you're putting it together, and that's why you're getting such higher conversion rates and higher LTV. And so it's just a no-brainer. So if you're doing this and your competitor's not, like David mentioned a minute ago, whoever can pay the most to acquire a customer is going to win. Like that's common like marketing, that's core marketing right there, right? And so this is what it allows you to do. So yeah, so the future, obviously, yes, celebrities are getting involved, of course. Influencers are continually getting involved. You got people like Gary Vaynerchuk, Neil Patel, all these people that are just shouting from the rooftops about, without, I'm not going to use Gary language, but Gary's like, if you don't do this, you're an idiot. Like, basically, like this is what's coming. And one thing that Gary is good at, it is at seeing what's coming next and calling it ahead of time. I mean, I saw a video of him talking about live shopping back in 2015 or something like that, where almost 10 years ago, where he's like, this is very interesting to me. And now he's like, this is the main thing that Amazon should be concerned about. This is what could take Amazon off their throne. And I love it because you're putting the power back into the individual brands where you're not dependent upon, say, TikTok or Amazon or whatever. You can actually leverage the technology, get all the benefits that come along with it, but you get to fully own and control it, including the data.
Yeah, I think as well, we will probably see a shift. I think we've already started to see a shift in UGC and what is expected
Oh
of
yeah.
influencers for what some influencers are charging. I'm not sure that the brands are seeing the same kind of ROI anymore. And I think the idea of somebody, if you're an influencer or a creator, because I know there's sort of a segregation between that. If you just look at an additional pathway for the brand to see ROI based on essentially content you're already creating. And with Channelize, there's an opportunity for shoppable video as well. So, imagine taking that piece of UGC, making sure obviously that the creator is aware that you're using it for shoppable video. Maybe they get a little bump, maybe they don't, maybe they get commissions, whatever. But to be able to, have that integration so that it drives to the e-commerce is going to, I think, bring extra value to the brands, which also makes the creators and influencers even more valuable. I'm starting to see, David, at least with my clients and the roster of hosts that I'm starting to put into place for brands who don't feel comfortable doing it on themselves is the idea of live influencing. And I think the term live shopping sometimes it's still this mystery to a lot of brands in the West because they think it's like
Yeah.
the viral video of in China, right? Where there was this
Hmm.
conveyor belt. And like we know that
Yeah.
Western markets don't shop like that. That's
Yeah.
not how we do things.
That was short-lived anyways,
But
but yeah.
but they understand influence and the idea if you can do it live, that's a different level of talent. So what do you think is in store for the UGC and influencer market with respect to live shopping, David? Or do you think really we're going to see more of a shift to founders taking the reins on that one?
I think over a season, there will probably be like a halo effect transition from influencers being what they were. And they are because you want to go where there's traffic, right? You don't want to fish in a pond where there's no fish or there's like one or two fish. So right now, influencers, they have the ponds, right? They have all the eyeballs. So why not kind of draft off of those influencers for a season until that influence that halo effect happens towards the brand. And I do see that there will be more brands that create their own internal influencers that
Mhm.
they really connect with their customer, and they are so focused on that connection point. Because again, it's their brand, it's their product, it's their community, and people will start to they'll start to be very attracted to, wow, I love that brand. I love that Anne Klein representative. I don't know. Somehow I relate to her and she gets me, right? Not everybody gets influencers because it's like, well, they're so up here. Like they're just so cool. Like, so that I think
Maybe some of
that's going to start
them.
going away. And I think brands are going to start adopting that more in-house. But I think there will be a season. I don't know how many years that's going to be. Maybe it's a couple of years until that transition, that drafting happens. But yeah,
Yeah, I think it's
that's my
naturally
prediction.
happening. I think it's naturally happening now, but like, I think about like you talk about like founders or business owners doing their live shows. Like we see all the above, honestly. Like and some people when it comes to live shopping, some people are just a little afraid to get in front of the camera. And so I want to let you know that you don't have to be afraid. Like it's okay for you to get started and to be nervous because everyone is. And you may not be great at first, and that's okay too. You have my permission to not be great at first. It is okay. My wife went live in a van in a Starbucks parking lot, turned it into a multi-million dollar business with live shopping. Like it's okay to start small. It's okay to start without having to overthink it. But also like you don't even have to be in front of the camera or in front of the camera all the time. Like with us, I mean, if you wanted to do, for example, like right now we could be doing a live show. This takes some of the pressure off of us because we're here with Dawn, right? And so you can do a split screen show with someone. That gives a lot of comfort there. You can do a split screen to where one of them is focused on you, the other one is focused directly on the product. So that takes some pressure off there. We see lives on our platform of people going live and just showing the product, not even showing their face, or just like a minute here and there, every blue moon, we'll hit the button. They'll focus on themselves. They'll talk for a minute, and they'll go back to the products. Like, or you bring on an influencer, and so I say that just because the fact that like I think that's an important thing to touch on that where you don't have to feel like all the pressure's on you to get started.
Yeah, and I mean, let's be honest. I mean, I started live selling school now just over 2 years ago. Actually, 2 years ago in October, I started live selling school, and I
Congratulations.
created this whole program. Yeah, I mean, I certainly a pioneer in Canada, obviously, based on my background in broadcast and, of course, live shopping, and now really having a foot in each of it. But I do have a program that kind of helps people work through confidence and sales skills and all of that. And absolutely, do you need to take a course to be able to do it? Absolutely not. But there are certain elements that are do give you an advantage. Now, do you have to be comfortable on camera right out of the gate? No, but you definitely need to have your product knowledge. So you
Hmm.
can't kind of just go and you can wing it to an extent, but if you want to be successful, I always say there's like three or four sort of components, right? So you've got like the on-camera confidence, you got your product knowledge, you got to have charisma, energy, all that. You don't have
Yeah.
to have all of them at one time.
Yeah.
And many of them you can learn. So if you're comfortable on camera, you can learn how to sell, right? And
Hmm.
selling for Dawn is different than selling for David and Zan, and is
Yeah.
different than
Sure.
selling for Kim Kardashian, right? You have to tap into your own skills. And that's why I always say, treat it in the beginning as a marketing tool that has sales attached.
Yeah.
Eventually, it will become sales and marketing, but you have to sort of find your own little secret sauce. And that's sort of what I work with brands on is let's find your secret sauce. A lot of times I work with a brand for their first show. And you guys know this because I usually bring the brands and then I'll do the show. And then I
Yeah.
kind of like,
You do such a good job
bye
too.
bye kids, and they're still my children. I always think of that
Go
because I
fly.
still, of course, go fly, of course. But it's that confidence that is built. And so whether that's with someone like me, or your daughter or your partner, your husband, you could be with your kids. There's just do what it takes to go live and don't be afraid to do it scared because the fact is the train is going.
Yeah,
Okay. Now
that's
you can
right.
choose to get on it
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
right? And you're going to be way ahead of everyone else that gets on it later. There will be a space for everybody later, 100%. But being an early adopter has its advantages. You get to work out the bugs, you get to figure it out, you
Yeah.
get to build the relationships with the platforms that are designed and there to help you succeed. And that's why I really wanted to chat with you, Zan and David, is because I have personally found, and this is why I'm so thrilled that you're offering a very special offer for my listeners and viewers, which is something you don't even have on your website. You spent, I think, you
No.
spent several weeks creating this thing for me, which is 30 days of a Channelize. It's a value of close to $100. And the true value is that you get to try it out and you get to make as much money as you want.
That's
Like that's
right.
a
Yeah.
huge value.
Yep. No
But
pressure.
I
No
do
pressure.
think
That's right.
it's important for people to just get started because you're going to be so much further ahead because the reality is every day I see new brands and you see this as well. So
Oh yeah.
get
Oh,
on later
every
if
day,
you
literally.
want, but getting on now just means you start reaping the benefits.
It's the same thing with any platform. Like when e-commerce came out, people that were first mover advantage, right? Social commerce, first mover advantage, like different platforms, first mover advantage. Like I think about Gary Vaynerchuk, and he's talking about how like I told you guys to get on TikTok, and now you're like, oh, but Gary, I can't get on TikTok now because the reach isn't as much. And it's like the same thing. Like this is the same thing with live shopping. Like right now, this is like the infancy of like social commerce and like of TikTok or however you want to phrase it. But it is your time to hop in there and to get started and to get crazy results out of the gate.
And
Yeah.
if you already have a customer list, like what are you afraid of? What are you waiting for? Honestly, like I know it's a bit of a challenge, but if you get the platform for free, essentially for 30 days, and you already have a customer list, and you can send out a quick email that Don could help you write that just says,
Day
"Hey,
one.
I've never done this before, and I want you there with me. Help me through this. I'm going to go live with our product. I'm terrified, but I'd love to have you there to make me feel a little bit more comfortable. Would you show up?" I mean, if somebody sent that out to me and I knew their product really well, I'd be like, heck yeah, I'm going to be there for them.
Yeah.
Right? Why
Well,
wouldn't you send an email like that out to go live on a free platform to make you money? I just, that math doesn't work for me if you
yeah.
don't want to do that.
And go with the idea that everyone that's in that customer list is a fan of yours in some respect.
Yeah.
They're either a fan of you personally, maybe they followed you as a business. I'm talking to the business owners out there. They've been following your content. They love your product. They love you maybe. Maybe they've never purchased a product, but they really love following you on social. This is a chance for people to literally have, I'm going to say one-on-one time with you. We know it's one to
Yeah.
many, but how often do you get to be, have your voice heard by a designer? By a founder, by a musician, by a
Yeah.
book author, right?
Hmm.
It's such a great sense of community. And that's the one thing that I think, we don't advertise as much, but it's the thing my clients continue to tell me is how much of a community they feel they've built.
So
And
good.
for, really for no cost. I mean, if you're a successful business, you know that you need to be on social media. If you're not, you need to be on social media.
Yeah.
But you probably are. So you're already almost there. It's
Hmm.
just, yeah. So I'm just so thrilled that you made this special offer to my listeners and my viewers. And I'm so excited for what's to come in 2026 for Channelize. Again,
Thank
if you
you.
just joined in or if you fast forwarded, yeah, newly acquired LiveScale. So we don't even know, I don't even know all the goods, but you're going to be having announcements
It's it's
throughout.
gonna be it's gonna be very exciting. Yeah. I mean, one thing that we can hint towards a little bit for 2026 is that we want to help our customers get discovered. We want to help our customers have some eyeballs, and so that's kind of where our brain is at the moment. And I won't go into too much detail other than that. But there's a lot of value when it comes to having viewers on your platform. If you get people on your platform, they naturally want to convert. And like you're talking about with building that relationship. I mean, we have people that when we did our live shopping for years, would show up on our live shows, and when they showed up, we would remember their name because they would be commenting or purchasing products. And I'm gonna throw out a number right now, but I'm just gonna let you. This is a caveat. Like I'm not saying this is going to happen for you. Okay, I'm just simply saying this was our experience when we did live shopping. We our so there used to be an article written by Kevin Kelly called 1,000 True Fans. And what he's saying is that if you have 1,000 true fans, if each of them gave you $100 every single year, that would give you $100,000 a year. That's a pretty nice income. Well, with live shopping, what we discovered, again, this was us. It was no longer 1,000 true fans. For us, it was our top 100 true fans. And in one year, our top 100 true fans spent over $650,000 with us. Way different ball game. And that's not their LTV. That was for that year. We had our LTV of our customers, and I won't get into all this, but anyways, was over 1,000. So our top 1,000 customers have all spent over $1,000 with us, and I'll leave it at that. But again, that's our experience. I'm not saying it's going to happen to you. I'm just letting you know that the value there is that relationship that you establish.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
will say, and you're right. I mean, it's sort of like the results not typical. Listen,
yeah,
everybody is different. I've got brands, like I said, that, have high margins and they can sell tens of thousands in 1 hour, and others are super thrilled with $500 in 1 hour because they know that that is still higher conversion than they have typically. And they know that it costs them literally almost nothing to be able to
yeah,
make that money. And it's a way to also build the relationship so that you get the repeat customers. And again, don't sleep on the replay. So
no,
yeah, I understand the caveat, Zan, but the reality is you also get what you put into it.
sure.
If you are successful and you go, gosh, let me just put a couple bucks behind a bit of an ad spend. I mean, David,
Yeah,
this is not a must because I don't want people to think, oh, they've got to have this whole big thing happening. But I'm telling you, what you get in, get out of it is what you put in. And if you are finding great traction in live shopping and you want to expand even more, right, to different geography or different client base, putting a tiny bit of ad spend possibly could make a massive difference as well.
absolutely. Or just leveraging someone's existing following, their clout, their trust already established, do a multi-host show, go live to your audience and their audience, and allow those people to purchase from you as well as build up your audience base. And so that's kind of like when I was talking about 2026, like we want people to understand exactly how to get those eyeballs. I think it's
Yeah.
super important, and so we're working to unlock the secrets when it comes to that type of thing. And so that's where our I believe that is probably the most value that we could offer to any of our current and future customers is how to take what you already have, make that successful, but how to take it to the next level and grow it exponentially.
Absolutely. And that's why I love the Channelize folks so much. Again, special offer, 30 days free. That is more than you offer anybody else. It's a special
No,
link.
that's
You
that's
made it
it. Yeah,
for me. No one else has got it. You can
that's
find it, of
it.
course, in the comments. And it's also, why I love helping founders and influencers. Of course, you can find a lot of free resources on Channelize's website, but you can also
Oh yeah.
find a lot of free resources, different guides, different tips and tricks, videos as well at livesellingschool.com.
If it's okay, I want to give you a quick plug because I can see Dawn's customers and how they come on and how they're successful out of the gate. Like Dawn does such a good job with educating them on how to be able to conduct a live show, how to speak to their audience, how to get people to add to cart, how to encourage them to check out, like kind of like the secrets of what to do before, during, and after. I can see that Dawn is doing a great job with that. And so we're excited to be partnered with you because of who you bring to us. You bring to us not only customers that are successful, but customers that stay around at Channelize because they are successful. And so I have no shame with giving you a plug, even though this is your own podcast. We're grateful for you.
Well, I thank you so much, and I'm very grateful for you guys. And again, very excited to see what happens in 2026. And
Me too.
wishing all the businesses out there, whether they're with me, with Channelize, or just dipping a toe into just going live, even on Instagram. I wish everybody the best success in 2026. But don't sleep on the tools that are available to help you be even more successful, especially when the barrier to getting involved is so low. So thank you you so much. And I can't wait to hear what's next.
Thank you guys. See ya. Take care.
Yeah.
And don't forget, you can get that exclusive 30 days free of Channelize. That is worth almost $100, 100 US dollars. The link is right in the comments. And of course, that is available exclusively through the Leap Into Livestream podcast. Hit subscribe, and I'll see you next time.